Welcome to Stoppage Time from the MLS UK show. It's episode 5, and as always, I'm Henry Hewitt, and I'm joined by...
Elliot Holman, get in Orlando City, top of the league.
Well, joint top, because Atlanta are there as well. Just one place above you, like we finished last year as well.
All right.
Welcome to Stoppage Time, the first one after a match day in MLS, so we've got actual football to talk about. I think we should get cracking though straight away by talking about something that isn't related to the weekend we've just had in MLS. The first talking point this week is Jesse Marsch. He's coming over to these shores, reportedly about to sign up and become the head coach of Leeds United. As we record this is a rumour, a strong rumour, but just a rumour. Elliot, American head coaches haven't had the best record in the Premier League. How do you see this one going?
Look. This is a guy of a very different caliber to somebody I know you're referring to called Bob Bradley, and I think there's a lot of question marks if you're a Leeds fan and you're not an MLS fan, or you haven't heard of Jesse Marsch and seen what he's achieved within the Red Bull Group. Then I understand why you maybe think, well, we're Leeds United, we're a big club, and we deserve somebody big to come in and try and save us. Jesse Marsch is a good appointment, I think. Just because you don't know somebody, just because you're not aware of their work, doesn't mean that they aren't the right fit. We've seen that time after time, not just in the Premier League, but all over. There's a guy sitting on the Manchester United bench called Chris Armas. No one's batted an eyelid. No one's questioned that whatsoever. Am I the only one thinking... that's a bit weird because he's not very good? Jesse Marsch, actually good.
Yeah, well, we just hope that Jesse Marsch won't have his players calling him Ted Lasso like Chris Armas has been over the last few weeks. I'm excited. I'm intrigued to see how this turns out because, as I said there, US head coaches haven't the best record in the Premier League. It's going to be difficult. He's going into a team that A, can't defend at the moment, and B, are staring down the barrel of relegation. So there's a lot of pressure on. If he'd gone in the summer during the close season, could have a few months sort of moulding the team in his direction, then maybe I'd think a bit differently. But a relegation battle, and I guess this is why you see over and over again, Premier League clubs in this situation going for the likes of Sam Allardyce or Tony Pulis, that sort of manager, Roy Hodgson, who have done it before, because it is a challenge. So for me, it's either going to go one or two ways. I think Jesse Marsch could become a hero. He could stay at Leeds, and it's all great, and it looks great on MLS as well, and the US soccer, having a US head coach there. Or on the other hand, he relegates Leeds United, and it really does a number on head coaches from MLS. But I can't wait to see what happens. Shall we move on to number 2 then, Elliot? Shall we start talking about what happened in MLS this weekend?
Yeah, we've been scrambling for months to talk about stuff to do with MLS. We've had an actual whole round of fixtures and we've taken this long to get to it. Come on.
Well, the first talking point, and this is a biggie. It's a biggie for the MLS UK show. You was laughing at this on episode 1 of our main episodes. He started on the bench. He then comes off the bench, Dom Dwyer, and before the half is out, makes it 2-0 to Atlanta. As a big Orlando fan and someone who, it's safe to say, isn't one of Dom Dwyer's biggest fans, what was going through your head when you saw him score that second goal for Atlanta?
Can I be? I'll be really honest. I didn't have much of a reaction because I was a bit stunned. That Dom Dwyer that controlled the ball, beat his man, smashed it into the net. That's not somebody that we've seen for 3-4 years. That's the Dom Dwyer that arrived in Orlando. I don't know what happened after that. I kind of feel pleased for him, I guess, because it's been an embarrassingly long time since he scored. I think it was 2019 the last time he scored a league goal. But just a bit bemused by the whole thing, because I think if he genuinely was that player that we just saw, if that's what he's going to offer week in, week out, then every team in the league's got a problem. They've been leaving him to rot. I don't know I don't know what elicited that, what lit that spark for him, but I'll be honest with you, that is bigger than my ego and my opinion. If he's going to do that week in, week out, that's fine. That is absolutely fine because it's going to be box office. Him and Josef,
Yeah, well, it is going to be MLS box office. It's going to be that sort of 2018 vibes if Josef and Dom Dwyer are up front scoring goals. I've
Martinez
got to admit,
hasn't actually scored yet, so.
Well, he's assisted too, so maybe that's going to be his game. Maybe he's going to assist more. I've got to admit, when Arujuke went off after he scored, I was worried because he scored. I thought, brilliant, Atlanta, what a great start to the season, 1-0. Oh no, he's injured and here comes Dom Dwyer. So I was more in that camp. When Tom scored, I was like, oh my God. I even tweeted saying, stop the season now, it's peaked. Nothing's going to beat this. Obviously, Atlanta went on to win 3-1. The jury's still out. Can Dom Dwyer be that guy that scores 10 or 15 goals this year? I don't know. But if he's going to be that guy who can come off the bench and trouble defences like he did, and he had a chance just before that was offside. I mean, he put it wide, but it was offside anyway. Then we're going to be in for an interesting season. And for an Atlanta point of view, if you've got that player coming off the bench, then it's a real impact on what can happen for Atlanta. But good start from my boys, the Five Stripes. We can talk briefly about Orlando. You won as well. It must be a happy bunny. Or happy duck, I should say, with Pato.
Yes, happy duck. There was ducks on the field, bears on the field. Ridiculous. To be honest with you, we didn't start well at all. My dad was at the game. He's over in Florida at the minute. And when you introduce someone to something and you just want it to be good and you want them to enjoy it. And my dad was sat there. He made the effort to go and enjoy the first 10, 15 minutes of that game. And I'm thinking, this is not going well. But luckily, Orlando turned it around. Really nice bit of pace from Juan to set up the Pato goal. And then the press. Bit of high pressing for the second goal as well, which is really nice to see. Great atmosphere. Nice way to start the season. And I don't know, my dad sent me pictures. You've been as well. I know you're not an Orlando fan, but you've been, I was getting sent pictures and I just look at that place and there's something about half of me is there all the time. Like I just see it and it just makes me so happy. I absolutely love that place. And that's what football's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, and I do notice that more of your heart is there when Norwich City are losing games over here. So next year, start of next season when Norwich are winning games in the Championship and Orlando miss out on the playoffs, maybe more of your heart's over here.
I'll be taking this off.
Right, let's move on to number 3 of our talking points, and we've got to mention this guy. If it weren't for Dom Dwyer, he would have been first in our look back at the weekend's action. Carlos Vela is back. What a player he is. No one ever doubted that he wouldn't make this comeback, but to start the season, hat-trick, 3-0 to LAFC against Colorado Rapids. It's all things good again in MLS, am I right?
It just feels like the good old days, doesn't it? I watched that LAFC game. They were on at the same time as Columbus, weren't they? So I had a bit of dual screen going on these behind me. And I'll be honest, I was watching the Columbus game because it just looked a bit more exciting. There'd been a couple of goals already. The LAFC Colorado game, they were just hacking chunks out of each other constantly for the first 20 minutes. But I mean, you give that guy, the guy's got so much quality. He's got so much composure. There's nothing I can say that people haven't said before, but Carlos Vela, if that's the form he's going to be in this season, and we've got Chicharito as well, we've got Costa, even Dom Dwyer scoring, it's going to be box office.
With Carlos Vela, though, I mean, it is game 1. We have to remind ourselves, as excited as we are, it is only game 1. But with him scoring goals, has your opinion on LAFC changed over the last 48 hours? Are you seeing them as real contenders now?
I watched the game and I think the squad, when you see players, and I don't mean to be disrespectful because I kind of have the same opinion with Atlanta as well, is that there's a lot of players there that I think, really? At LAFC? They got a good agent. Do you know what I mean? And there's a few on the Atlanta roster, and I have to admit, I was completely wrong about Gutman as well, because I've seen him play a couple of times and he's been horrendous, and actually put a really good shift in for Atlanta the other day. So I hold my hands up on that one. But yeah, it's a bit of a strange roster. You look at it and you think, oh, LAFC used to be packed with stars. But hey, if they're all going to do the dirty work and Carlos Vela is going to be putting the goal, putting shots on target, finding the back of the net that often, they have to be contenders.
So do you want to mention it, or should I? The importance of what they've done, the players they've brought in. What does it give them?
Oh, I know this one. I just pick me, miss.
Go on, Elliot.
Is it MLS experience?
Ding, 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 ding.
Yay!
There's the mention for this week. Right, moving on then to number 4. And I've got to say, as we move on to number 4, we are going to talk more about the opening weekend and what happens next weekend in the next episode of the MLS UK show, the main episode. But for now, this is just a bite-sized look at what's happening in MLS. And number 4, and this just broke just before we recorded, it's quite interesting. So by the time you watch this or listen to this, it might have just been completely blown out the water and everyone's saying it's a load of rubbish. But for now, it is a rumour. Sergio Ramos, apparently LA Galaxy have been talking to him. It's an interesting move.
No, stop you there. It's not Sergio Ramos. It's Sergio Tamos. Tam? Gonna cost a lot of...
Yeah.
Cheers,
yeah, wasn't he Houston manager, Tam Ramos? But no, we're looking at Sergio. Defensive-wise, we saw at the weekend LA Galaxy kept, I think it was the second clean sheet in like 16 home games. So maybe the defenders got wind of this and thought we'd better put a shift in. But that has been what's lacking for LA Galaxy, is someone at the back, a leader. Sergio Ramos not been playing much for PSG. This could be the right time, but you've got to say this would be an excellent move for them.
I watched the other Friday night, a couple of weeks ago, I watched PSG, and Ramos wasn't fit, and they said he'd really been struggling with injury and didn't know if it was ever going to work out for him there. And my immediate thought was, somebody take a chance on him. Somebody make a move in MLS. And LA Galaxy, I like the fit. I'm bored of Inter Miami being linked with everyone. So first of all, well done for somebody not making up a rumor about that. But in all seriousness, I really like it. And I think as well, what's interesting, obviously massive character to bring into the locker room, as I should call it. And it's good because it's not going to put anyone's nose out of joint. If you're a defender for LA Galaxy now, doesn't matter. If Sergio Ramos turns up, wants to take your position in centre back, it's absolutely fine, because he'll be suspended the next week. You'll still get a game.
Yeah, if you want someone to play one every 3 games, then Sergio Ramos is your man. But you might keep a clean sheet in those 1 in 3 games. I mean, this would be... I know we keep on talking about how MLS is trying to get rid of the sort of retirement league tag. I know Buffon was rumoured a few weeks ago, but he's just signed a new contract at Parma, so that's not going to happen now. But Ramos coming in, he's got his injury troubles, but for a man of that stature, of what he's done in the game, in particular at Real Madrid, and winning the World Cup with Spain as well, this would be an incredible signing. And LA Galaxy getting back to the old school, suddenly having Chicharito, Costa and Ramos in the team. It's the Galacticos of MLS. This is what we grew up on. This is what we love, LA Galaxy like this. Yeah,
and how good did they look yesterday? Started really bright. Poor old Sean Johnson under pressure so much in that game. Costa looked so bright, cutting inside, trying shots from the edge of the box, and I thought, they're going to get a hatful here. Finished 1-0. Last minute goal.
Yeah, I was nervous because we had 2 0-0s. If we were doing a full MLS UK show episode, should we bring back this season booing teams that
absolutely.
0-0? Because
that Miami game,
I
sat there thinking, this is what Sky get. Sky over here in the UK chose that game to show over everything. Just because it's Beckham and Shaqiri. That's literally the only reason I can think of. Oh, God, it was so boring. So boring.
Yeah, I was watching the game on Sky Sports over here and I was looking at the fixtures and thought, Charlotte FC's first ever game?
Yeah.
I would rather watch that. I'm going to be honest with you. But no, it showed into Miami. The next day, they showed LA Galaxy, New York City FC. So there's been one goal for the coverage here in the UK to watch so far. Luckily, I managed to get a stream of the Atlanta game, and there was more goals in that. But yeah, hopefully there'll be more goals, especially next weekend, as we'll react to it on the second main episode 102 of the MLS UK show. And if that's not exciting enough, if that's not a carrot enough for all of you to listen and watch the next episode, she's back. Poppy's kit reviews for 2022 will be back next episode. She's going to record them. I think it's Monday we're recording this Stoppage Time episode. It's going to be Tuesday or Wednesday we'll record them. I had to make sure I wasn't watching any MLS in front of her this weekend, just so she didn't get a preview of any kits. If you are a new subscriber, if you're a new follower on your podcast platform, you might not know, but Poppy is my wife, and every year I show her the brand new kits and she reacts to them. This is someone who doesn't like soccer. She don't really watch soccer. And she looks, it's safe to say, Elliot, is it a unique point of view at the kits?
I think unique is a generous way of describing it. But definitely tune in. I am fascinated to see what she thinks to, in particular, the NYCFC jersey and the Orlando City jersey. Not because it's Orlando, but because it's wild.
Yeah, I've not shown her this yet. This is just merely a prediction. But especially with a name like Poppy, she is partial. She's prone to liking a kit that maybe has a sort of a flower theme to it. So I'm going to go with that Portland kit. That's what I predict will be her favourite kit. Yeah,
Bryony would be the same. If I asked her to pick any jersey from this year, she wouldn't care that it was Portland and not Orlando. She'd just choose Portland every time.
So there you go. That's what you got to look forward to on the next full episode of the MLS UK show. Just a shout out, actually, to all our new subscribers and followers. We got quite a lot from the first episode of this series, episode 102. If you haven't watched that yet, then go back and watch it. You can look at our predictions, see if we got our predictions for the first match day right or wrong. And we'll be doing our slightly late, and I think the first 2 game weeks could influence our actual season predictions, but we're going to do them on the next episode as well.
I think it's nice to get a little indication, because people have been asking me, who's going to be strong this year? No idea. I wouldn't have said Austin, even though they were playing Cincinnati. I wouldn't have said they were going to put 5 past them. So we'll have had a couple of games to gauge it, which will be nice.
Stay tuned for that. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed on YouTube or liked or click the notification bell, make sure you do as well. And if you're listening on your podcast provider, please follow us, subscribe, leave a rating and a review. You can do it on Spotify now as well. It really helps us out and we really appreciate it. But for now, this has been episode 5 of Stoppage Time. I've been Henry Hewitt.
And I've been Elliot Holman, top of the league. Thank you very much.
Joint top. See ya.